What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. Blizzard, you tricky, conniving, beautiful bastards. You made me look like a fool with one of my recent videos. Well, I see what you're doing now. You think sneezing the name Doomfist in the direction of the community will fool all of us? Oh, you surely are mistaken. So now, I'm going to debunk your newest little misdirect, and at the same time, piece together your big picture. I'm gonna figure out who the next hero is, as well as what your overall plans for Doomfist are, right now. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, Blizzard just released a teaser news article for Hero 25 on their Overwatch blog website. The article described how prior to Doomfist's attack on Numbani to reclaim the Doomfist Gauntlet, he was broken out of a Helix Securities prison by Reaper and the Talon organization. Furthermore, the article even goes so far as to give the name of Doomfist himself, Okande Ogundimu. I probably butchered that pretty badly. Now, this name when stuck into Google Translate, translates into some interesting things. When translated from Yoruba, it comes out as Thirdly Ogundimu. Now, since we know that the current Doomfist is seemingly the third one, there could potentially be some significance here with regards to it. Additionally though, if translated to English from the Zulu language, it gives you, get rid of corruption. Now, I find this much more intriguing, as it not only indicates what I've previously suspected to be the motivation behind Doomfist, but also that ideology could expand to even include the Talon terrorist organization as a whole, given that we currently know very little about them. I certainly can't wait to see this meaning unfold even more in the future to come. Now, before I go any further, let me make one thing abundantly clear. This is in fact a confirmation of Doomfist. However, he still isn't going to be the 25th hero, for a number of reasons. I've harped on this enough already in the past, but we don't need a hero in the game right now who would fit the abilities and balance of Doomfist. Rather, we need a healer of some kind. And believe it or not, this teaser article actually gives us a couple leads for who it actually will be, but I'll get back to those in a bit. First, I want to give my revised understanding of what Blizzard's doing overall. By giving not only more mention to Doomfist, but also going so far as to reveal his actual name, it is abundantly clear that they are playing him out to the fullest with regards to the hype surrounding him and the potential he has not only in terms of gameplay, but even more importantly, in terms of story. In my previous video about Doomfist, which has now gotten blasted into oblivion by this teaser, one of the reasons I gave for Doomfist not showing up anytime soon was because it would make him the focus of the whole story for an immensely long period of time. Given how terribly this played out in the end with Sombra, I expected they would try to stay far away from ever doing that again. Thus, you could understand my shock to see that they are indeed perpetuating the Doomfist storyline, in a manner not too different from what happened with Sombra. My expectations right now is that Doomfist will be released at BlizzCon in November this year. That's Blizzard's biggest event, and thus the most opportune time to make a big reveal like this. However, the issue I see is whether or not they will actually be able to make it until then. The community has already grown quite restless due to how long the Doomfist expectations have been around, and I know many people are becoming quite annoyed with the dragged out hype. You might see this as evidence for Doomfist in fact being the 25th hero, since it would be too risky for Blizzard to delay him all the way until BlizzCon. But in addition to my still standing concern about how he isn't needed in the game for balance reasons, the teaser article does an excellent job of proving he won't be 25 too. Tell me, what's the primary focus of this article to readers? Go on, say it. If you haven't read it yet, there'll be a link in the description below. Your answer is almost certainly Doomfist. Now tell me this, do you honestly think Blizzard would be this obvious about the new hero this early before their release? Why on God's grey earth would Blizzard be so forward about the identity of their next hero when A, they've never done this with past heroes, and 2, it would completely spoil the surprise when the hero is actually revealed next week. Doomfist has simply become too big of an attention grabber for them to release him this soon. I thought Blizzard was going to take the subtle route, but I was wrong, and instead, they've chosen to drag out the hype as strongly as they can for as long as they can. I guarantee you of one thing right now. As soon as the day comes when Doomfist is released, everyone will immediately afterwards stop caring about him. It happened with Sombra, and it'll happen again with Doomfist. That's why, in order to build maximum hype, they need to release him at BlizzCon. So now that I've hopefully hammered hard enough in everyone's skulls why Doomfist still won't be the next hero, who do I think it will be? Well, I can guarantee you of one more thing. They are at least alluded to in some way or another in today's teaser article. If we look back to Arisa's build-up, her first teaser was incredibly similar to this one. So much so that I was actually rather caught off guard by it. The blatant misdirect they are trying to throw at us feels a bit like a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me situation. Just like what I assume will happen with this hero, Arisa's first teaser appeared about a week before her release. It was written in the form of a news article, and while the primary focus was on Efi, it did mention the OR-15s, which ultimately ended up being Arisa as the 24th hero. Now, looking back at this article, what little hints could possibly be showing us the actual 25th hero? Well, to me there are two that stand out the most. The first is this little bit here. Helix officials have been unwilling to reveal whether or not there were additional escapees or items taken from the facility, but sources have indicated that it is likely that there were further security breaches in addition to Ogundimu. Now, this could easily be indicating that another, as of yet undisclosed individual has escaped, and thus will soon be coming into the spotlight. The implications here are that, given they were locked up in a maximum security prison, they would most likely be evil. This means they could either have some association with Talon, although I find this unlikely given that Talon made no effort to rescue them along with Doomfist, or even perhaps a more chaotic character such as Junkrat or Roadhog. Additionally, they could be a part of another evil organization, similar yet independent from Talon, which we have yet to learn about at all. Or dare I even go so far as to say perhaps the liberation of Doomfist was merely a distraction for the escape of this other unknown convict, who maybe will somehow hold a bigger role than we could ever imagine at this point in time. This is really all just speculation, but let me now get on to the other possibility I see from this article. Something I haven't really mentioned yet, but I'm sure you noticed if you yourself read the article, is that Helix Security is in heavy focus here. Given that it was a Helix facility that Doomfist escaped from, and the last portion of the article talks about the scrutiny they've been under recently, this definitely feels like a good bit of attention is being put on them. In particular, the very last sentence of the article caught my eye. After a number of high-profile incidents, including the breach of a similarly top-secret facility in Egypt, those who have objected to the increased privatization of security following the shuttering of Overwatch will have been dismayed that Helix has requested and been granted additional funding by the UN to cope with rising threats. The specific thing that stood out to me was the mention of additional funding being granted by the UN to Helix to cope with rising threats. This seems like an interesting little detail to add in at the very end. The implication is that Helix is starting to bump up their game, and is perhaps even hiring on some new individuals? This certainly seems like the perfect method and opportunity to introduce a new good hero into the game. Someone hired by Helix to help combat the huge threat being imposed by Talon. Now, it should be noted that this actually wouldn't be the first Helix Security member on the playable hero roster. Pharah, in fact, is employed by Helix, as seen in her comic. However, adding another Helix member could add some interesting new interactions between them and Pharah, and give some more variety from the usual 90% of the game's good guys were formerly with Overwatch. So overall, I'm taking the stance right now that between the possible second escaped convict and the allusion to another Helix member, one of them is the actual 25th hero, and the other is simply a red herring. I don't think we have enough evidence to go on right now to decide which is which, but I'm confident that things will become much more clear with the next teaser, which will most likely show up within the next couple days. Things have begun moving, my friends, and it ain't gonna stop until Hero 25 hits the PTR, so make sure to keep your eyes and minds open wide, because the hype train has already left the station. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to comment below with what your thoughts on all this is right now. I know a lot of the predictions from my last video were wrong, but I think overall I'm still on the right track with how Blizzard is doing things. Mark my words. Doomfist isn't next. Also, be sure to vote for who you think it actually is in today's poll card. Hit that like button if you liked the video, and be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and click the bell icon to keep up with all my stuff. This is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, don't you dare play into Blizzard's ruse, and have a great day.